Welcome back to this coding session. In this coding session I will be showing you how to embed a jetty server with the help of a very basic Spring controller, and you can use that to embed jetty server in your Spring application, web application. This is the group ID of my application. We'll say something like embed jetty, and I will say archetype artifact id is equal to maven, archetype web app d archetype version is equal to 1.4, and I will say int so let me read the command once again. Maven archetype generate, group id is equal to my reverse domain name, artifact id is embed jetty, archetype artifact id is maven archetype web app, d archetype version is equal to 1.4, and interactive mode is false. So let us start with this. It is going to take a few seconds. So it is done. We'll go inside this application. We'll have to modify this Form Xml. This step is not necessary, but I'm doing it. I'm going to choose the compile and source version as 14, and I will say jetty.version is equal to, I will copy that from the web. I think it's something like beta 2. I will have something like a Spring version. .2.9. I will look this version on the website and update the versions. Group ID was group ID capital or artifact ID version? Okay. Group ID is Spring framework. This, and artifact ID is Spring Web MVC. And version is equal to spring dot version. So dependency, the only web MVC dependency is needed by us, because I will be creating very simple web application that only displays text and nothing else. So let me now embed the plugin, and I will say something like this, and jetty dot I'll say something like so. This is the Form Xml that is ready. Let me check that jetty is working or not. Artifact ID line 26. Artifact what it says that no found for with found for prefix jetty in the current project. So maybe it's something like just check again, run again. So it is working, not working. Let me search on the website. Dependency group ID, artifact ID, version needs to be replaced. To make sure that we have right version, just so you can see that our embedded jetty is running without any issue. Let us configure the controllers and we'll say dir java main java. We'll say something like package info That is not a package, just a directory structure. Package com we need it is important to have a main Java structure for Maven, but it is not necessary to have something like com refactored codes controller like that. You can put the you can put the controllers wherever you want, but just provide the directory. Com refactored. I'll say your package. And say I'm going to say controllers. Same here, package info.java. Package com.refactored codes dot controllers. I will say something like dash no. jcontroller.java. Factor dots and controllers, and I will say import spring framework dot web dot bind annotation dot response body, import org dot spring dot web. So there is a spelling mistake somewhere. Okay, framework dot annotation dot request mapping. Next I need framework dot stereotype controller. I don't need any more imports. I will say public class j controller. I will say controller response body for request mapping j so we returning a string Jai Shri Ram, and that's it. And now we need to configure source main web app. web.xml for this. So we'll say something like web XML for Spring 4 or Spring no, so web XML version 4, and just copy stuff from here. So our web XML is ready with the annotations, and let me decorate it. Something like here. will say web welcome file list. I need to configure servlet. I will say something, name can be anything, whether app, spring, anything like that. I'm calling it, okay, I will call it, I wanted to call it dispatcher, but I will call it something like J. I'll say servlet. Class is spring. This servlet is provided by Spring framework, so we are using that. So we have provided our servlet, that this is our servlet that is going to hand is one of the servlet that needs to be created by the container, and servlet container, and I will say servlet mapping. I'll say J, because this is the URL, this is the path pattern we have mentioned in this controller, and I will say URL pattern is provided, mapping is done, servlet is defined, mapping is done, and what else we need to do for Spring framework? If you provide the name J, you need to provide another file servlet name hyphen servlet .xml. I think this is the name, not context, servlet, to provide mappings for the Spring framework, definitions for the Spring framework. I will so do something like servlet mapping for Spring MVC like 5. These are the mappings, but it is not needed right now. This is the, but doesn't have the MVC part over here. But it should be should be able to do our work, and I will say something like copy and paste and remove. and I think our work is done. We have provided everything, and let me do something like clean package jetty run. We're going to have some error, but fix that. So this is the issue. Okay, where is web.xml? I haven't terminated the tag. Start again. If everything goes fine, then it is going to run this time, and it is running this time. So I will say something like local (404) not found. Maybe we have some mapping issue. Okay, I got this. COM refactored codes controllers. Okay, COM refactored codes controllers. Context component scan base package. Stop it. Saved. Run it. So you see that it is working now. So we have created a very basic application with an embedded jetty web server in it, and we can expand our application and work with it. So, and we can directly run the jetty application from the Maven. So with this this tutorial ends, and see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.